brand new month.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
it
it
is
is
a
June.
brand new month. We've moved into the 6th month of the year 2020.
The best month.
And, you know, what's I don't know if it's ironic or strange or just
Coincidence?
coincidental. In December of 2019, we got on the radio and I said how I'm sick of 2019 and 2019 can suck it and I want to move on to a new year. and this, so it was a good year for me, not necessarily for like the whole world. Um, but the truth is, this could end up being a good year for the whole world if people actually are intellectually honest and examine the situation and say, okay, now that we've seen the problem right here in our faces, that we can make a difference. We can fix the problem.
We can have a solution and implement the solution.
We, yeah, we need to implement the solution. Uh, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about the Popo, which I was one. And I don't know how many people write letters, and I really don't give a crap because I don't have to read those letters. Uh, Cops respond after toy gun complaint by, and you're like, come on. No, 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 no. You see, it what we had was we took all the kids out of public schools, so we couldn't terrorize the children and their parents in person. So now we have to terrorize the children and their parents via the internet, right? So from long distance. So we've got that. Oh, I don't even know what else we're going to talk about. We got a lot of stuff. Well, I'm going to go ahead and begin with a quick personal story. We've got a bunch of stuff coming up. If you guys did not watch or read the Buckshot Pizza Box Challenge, we did an article. Thank you very much to Jared and Josh for putting the article together. Um, I wrote it, they edited it, they put it up, and then Zach did a fantastic job of condensing and putting together the real quick video
I'm the greatest.
about the Buckshot Pizza Challenge. And again, people like got on a bus and took a trip all the way around the world to miss the damn point. But the point is this: the whole point of the Pizza Box Challenge is to actually know and understand what your shotgun is capable of, what kind of a legitimate pattern you're going to get. And it doesn't, at the end of the day, I'm not telling you it has to be blank. People are like, well, if it's above 6, it's good. If it's below 5, it's bad, or whatever. That's not the point. The point is for you to have a real, genuine understanding of what's going on the receiving end of that shotgun. And it doesn't, people say, well, somebody's like, oh, that was your premise was wrong. You shouldn't have measured the shot in your house. You should have measured how far you would take a shot from your house to the end of your driveway or whatever. And I'm like, if you know the capabilities of your gun, then you can factor that wherever, whether it's across your bedroom or across the hallway or from your porch to your car that's parked in the driveway or whatever. Uh, but here's the thing I'm going to caution you about, Joe Biden. Just walk outside and start ripping off shotgun rounds like arbitrarily. You better be able to explain the AOJ or the ability, opportunity, intent. So if there's a dude like at the end of your driveway by your garbage can and you're like, get away from my house, blah, blam. When the police come and you end up in court later, I just want you to be able to explain. Now, if he was using your garbage can as cover and pew pew and back at you, now then, RTFO. Generally, that's not the case. But if you want to be Joe Biden and just, or Jill, because it's actually Jill who's going to take the shotgun and go out onto the balcony of their Delaware mansion and rip off rounds.
Yeah, I was gonna say that he said that before we knew he was actually insane.
Yeah, like that. Like did, we pointed that out 5 years
It
ago.
was a little bit of a glimpse of the future.
We were ringing the alarm bell like ding, 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 ding.
That is
We
not
were ringing the
going to end
alarm
well.
bell on how stupid and mentally unstable Joe Biden was. when he's like, just get a shotgun, and if you get scared, point it at the door. Pow! When the vice president of the United States goes on live television and tells the people of the country to go ahead and commit negligent homicide, and no one in the media said, Joe, that's people go to prison for doing exactly what you just said to do. Shut up. I got long hair and I know about on my legs and I know about roaches and I know black people or what I have black friends and I don't have a problem with you people. He said that. I don't have a problem with you people.
Poor kids are just like white kids or whatever.
Are just as smart as white kids.
Poor kids are just as smart as white kids.
This is all stuff that came from the mouth of Joe Biden. It's crazy.
For real.
Zach, you got the opening video ready?
I do.
Yeah, go ahead and play the opening video, you cray.
Woo! Stand by for education, enlightenment, enjoyment, and entertainment.
He's not here to talk about your feelings. He's not here to say what you want to hear. He's here to say what needs to be said.
Ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, please welcome your host, the pimp hand of America, Professor Paul Markle.
Yes, indeed, he do. Just to finish up the whole psycho Biden thing, of all the quotes that they're using right now to display how he's mentally unstable, they haven't even had to go back to the shotgun stuff. I told Jill to walk out on the balcony and just blam, and that'll fix all your problems. You're like, is Jill going to tell the Secret Service agents before she walks out on the balcony, or are they just going to be surprised? Surprise! You're Secret Service for Joe Biden's family, and you're standing there, and it's late at night, and you're kind of nodding, and you're like, and all of a sudden, blam, blam! Oh, Jill's out on the balcony again. Anyway, we don't have an actual word of the week question for you guys today, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of an op-ed to address the situation again with law enforcement in the United States of America. So, Zach, if you want to play do you want to play the Word of the Week music just because it's fun?
I think we'll play it just because it's fun.
Yeah, let's do that. Go ahead. Yeah. All right. The basic question is, what can be done when the police attempt to make an unlawful arrest? Does a citizen have the right to resist an unlawful arrest? Should you even try? Should you just, I wrote an article about this years ago. I wrote it for the Blaze. And when I was in the police academy, I don't know what's going on in American police academies today, but apparently they're not teaching police officers or stressing what they used to stress. Because when I was in the academy, and it was a long academy. I mean, it was a pretty serious, I don't know how many hours it was, but it was a lot. I remember we spent 40 hours of classroom training time on law. Right, on Ohio Revised Code law, on constitutional law, on the Bill of Rights and all that jazz. And one of the things that we were advised by our instructors was you absolutely must be sure that what you're doing is correct. There can't be any gray area. You have to know. You can't just randomly stop people in cars because you have a hunch or you don't like the way they look or whatever. You have to have reasonable, articulable suspicion. You need to be able to stand in front of the judge and say, the reason I did this was because blank, right? And that reason is an accepted law. You ain't like, well, that's a bad neighborhood, and anybody who's driving there after 10 o'clock at night is just a suspect anyway, so I pulled them over and searched your car. And we were taught that, no, being on the road is not probable cause for a stop.
Well, but that was back then. This is different times.
Way back when in the olden 90s, back before the Constitution applied. And these things were drilled into our heads. And I remember one of the things that was drilled into our heads, we were young, full of testosterone guys, was that an American citizen has the lawful right to resist an unlawful arrest. And our instructors they were telling police officers, look, you can't just arrest people just because you don't like the way they look, just because they, said a bad word to you or looked at you cross-eyed or whatever. You have to be in the right, and you have to know it. And that's why we spent all that time talking about probable cause and reasonable articulable suspicion and, and so forth. And I mean, you can't even, and there's only certain times you can arrest anyway. Like, you can't arrest someone just because their neighbor across the street said blah, 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 or they did blah, 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 unless you have evidence that crime is actually in process, is like actually being committed. You saw it happen, in the case of felonies, that it's a situation that's ongoing. Or, like, for instance, someone says, well, the neighbor went to the police and said, I think they're selling drugs in that house. And you're like, oh, well, the neighbor says it. Boom, we bust down the door. We go inside. No, you cannot do that. But today, like I said, I don't know what they're teaching in the police academies today, but apparently it's not constitutional law, and it's not reasonable articulable suspicion. It's not probable cause. Apparently, probable cause in today's police academy is, well, if you think that dude's dirty, then just bust him. Or in Houston, if you think those people are dirty, but you don't have any evidence, just make it up. Just manufacture evidence. Just go ahead and lie on the report to cover your ass. Go ahead. And you're like, oh, that doesn't happen. That didn't happen. Yeah, it did. And 2 people are dead because Houston police are dirty. Not everyone in Houston. Shut up. It starts from the top and it goes all the way down. Art Acevedo is a walking rectum. All right? And the city of Houston is a crap hole. And you guys refuse to fix it, so you're going to get what you – and here's the thing. Minnesota and Minneapolis is Psychotown. It's run by far-left social progressive liberals. And the far-left social progressive liberals who are in charge, who the people put in charge, who voted for them, they're the ones who hire the police chiefs. They're the ones who supervise the police. And if the police are screwed up, Yeager said this yesterday, and he reinforced what I just said on, was it Friday or Thursday? Everyone's always talking about, well, the good cops, there are good cops. And I was like, yeah, there are good cops. Well, the good cops need to stand up and fix their bad departments.
They can't.
No, they can't. And not only, it's people are like, oh, well, it's up to the good cops to fix the bad departments and get rid of the bad chiefs. A good patrolman can't get rid of a bad chief. You know who can get rid of a bad chief?
The people.
The people. The people. It's the responsibility of the people. If you have a city, and here's the deal. Why didn't the citizens of Minneapolis fix the police department 2 years ago when a black Muslim cop straight up murdered a woman? We reported on it more than once. That was a clue. We reported that they knew that guy, but this is what happens when you have progressive liberals in charge. They had to have on Minneapolis PD a token Muslim, right? And when they hired him and pushed him through the academy, they made a big deal about it. And the socialist mayor went out and he's like, look at us. We have a Muslim. And But when he committed that murder, he was currently under investigation for malfeasance. He was a bad cop. But because he was a black Muslim cop, rather than remove him from patrol or discipline him, well, we can't do that because A, we'd have to admit that we were wrong. Our EEOC, our affirmative action hiring was a bad idea. So there's an innocent woman who's currently dead because the city of Minneapolis is politically correct and didn't want to admit that they were wrong, and it was stupid to just put somebody on the police department because they were a certain color or a certain religion. But they did. And he's in jail now. Thank the Lord. We don't know how long he's going to stay in jail because, we put people in jail and then you don't think about them anymore. And a few years later, they just get quietly released. So you, Minneapolis, Minnesota, you knew that there was a problem with your police department years ago. Jared, will you do me a favor? Or Zach or somebody, or I can do it while you talk.
What's up?
Look up the timeline when that black Muslim PC hire murdered that chick.
You got it, Zach? Or I'll do it.
Yeah, you do it because I don't quite know what he means.
Okay. She was an Australian immigrant who had come here to get married. She was going to marry an American dude, and she called 911 or whatever, and they pull up, and she walks up to the police car, and Johnny Jihad in a blue uniform whips out his gat and smokes her. Boom, right there.
He was convicted in 2019. It looks like a story. No, that's June 7th, 2019.
We did this. We brought this up. Were we in the old studio in Saratoga when we talked about
I
it?
think so. I think that's where we were.
So I'm guessing that I'm guessing that the original murder took place in 2018. I'm guessing. But either way, let's say it's only been a year. It's been more than that, but let's just say the citizens of Minnesota, of Minneapolis, have known that there's a problem with their police department. And the problem goes all the way up to the chief, and then it goes directly to the city council and the mayor. Okay? But rather than addressing that problem back then, where were the riots for her? Why didn't the citizens of Minneapolis riot when one of their police officers straight up murdered this woman? Crickets? Yeah. Yeah. What? Yeah, that's the citizens of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Because it was a white woman that was straight up murdered by a black Muslim cop who was a crappy cop, and they knew he was a crappy cop, but they didn't take him off the streets because we got to have a black Muslim cop on the street because that's our token.
July 2017.
July 2017 was
the
your
death
original
of
murder.
Justine Damon.
Justine Damon.
Yeah.
So you morons, you socialist douchebags, you Democrat scumbags in Minneapolis, Minnesota have known since July of 2017 that you've got a problem with your police department. And you have a problem with your police department because your city is run by socialists. That's why. But did you do anything about it then? Jared, do you remember the rallies and the marches and the parades and the Justice for Justine and how CNN and MSNBC sent out reporters to cover the rallies and the marches, the Justice for Justine? Remember that?
Nope.
That's because it didn't happen. I don't know when the people of the United States of America are going to get a clue, are going to get sick of this and say, all right, we've had enough. But ladies and gentlemen, and I don't know, Jared, how long have I been pointing out the problem with policing in America?
Quite a while.
Since we turned these microphones on. People are like, oh, derp derp, cop bad, derp derp, cop bad. And I'm over here like, yeah, you know, derp derp, why cop bad? Because starting in the 1990s, I was there when this started. We started affirmative action hiring for police departments.
Well, that's just the right thing to do. It makes
Yeah,
people
like,
feel
well, this guy is a veteran. This guy's an honorably discharged veteran, graduated first in his class in the academy. We should hire him. Oh, no, he's a white man, and we don't hire white men because we have to hire other people who are not white men. Like, yeah, but that guy's the most qualified. Well, doesn't no, we have to hire. Yeah. And I pointed this out, and I told you guys that this Mickey Mouse horse crap that's been going on nationwide in our police agencies, what we've done is the self-starters, the motivated, the intelligent, the people who can reason and think are gone. They pushed them out. Because, right, think about it, man. It's like our military. If you are an intelligent, self-starter, self-motivated individual, and you're in an agency that's constantly micromanaging you, that's constantly, basically you're wrong, you're automatically wrong. You know, if you're accused of something, you're wrong and they're right immediately, automatically. Where do those people go? Do they stick around? No. Those people are like, screw this Mickey Mouse horse crap. I can do better things other places. I don't need to stay here and play your stupid little game. And so they leave. And so who's left behind? Muhammad Ali Mahmoud, affirmative action hired. That's who's left behind. Or pensioner, who dude's like, I only got 5 years left. I'm just going to run this. I'm going to run the clock out. That's who's left behind. Or you get people that are super young and motivated and they're full of, motivation, and they get there and they realize, oh,
I can't do anything.
This isn't what I thought it was at all.
Nothing kills motivation like being just running into a brick wall over and over and over again.
And I pointed this out. I said, we've allowed the states and the cities, we've allowed them to create this situation. We allowed them to create this situation, and we as the citizen, as a whole, have done nothing to stop it. And this is what you get. I've said I was a police officer for 17 years, and I was damn proud to be a police officer. But I wouldn't go back for all the freaking tea in China, right? I wouldn't go back and do that for anything. Because if you are a good cop and a bad person accuses of you of something, you're de facto guilty.
Yep.
The moment you're accused, right?
The risks outweigh the benefit.
Yeah, you're automatically guilty. I mean, after Baltimore, we reported how the cops after Baltimore were just signing on to their shift and basically just driving somewhere and hanging out for 8 hours and waiting for a call. And they're like, okay, we'll be there in a little bit. They're not proactive. They're not deliberately going out and doing things because they know that if they encounter the wrong person, then they're going to be wrong. So what do you have? You have a huge amount, and then what you do is you create a tremendous amount of frustration on the part of police officers who are there. So they go to work angry, right? They're angry and frustrated the whole time they're there. But folks, and this is insidious, or what you have is you end up with the ones that just want to be there so that they can be somebody's boss, so they can be in control.
That's fun.
And there are people out there in uniforms who are there because by putting on the uniform, that makes them part of the elite ruling class. Who do you think, what kind of a person goes out and arrests a mom and a kid in a park for and Jared, this is what really should be scary. What should be scary to the American people is not that the American people themselves don't understand how the representative republic of the United States of America was set up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's not surprising that the American people don't understand that a governor or a president or a mayor, that the chief executive doesn't have the authority to create law. Right? It's not surprising that the average person doesn't get that concept, that your governor can't just wake up in the morning and create laws. But what really should scare you is that apparently we have law enforcement agencies, cops, sheriffs, police, whatever, state police, who they don't understand that. When you have officers out there saying, well, rules and orders, and I'm going to arrest you.
Excuse me, what?
And take you to jail because you violated rules and orders. No, there's this thing called the blank revised code. There's an Ohio revised code. There's a Wyoming revised code. There's a California revised code. That's where the actual laws are. And they're very detailed and specific. You know, if you guys have never dove into, and I'm sure most of you haven't, but in the Ohio revised code, and I know this very well because I had to study it backwards, forwards, upside down when I went through the academy, there's culpable mental states. Okay? You understand what a culpable mental state is? Culpable mental state means that you can only be found guilty if they can prove that, deliberation, and so on and so forth. They have the listed penalties. And where do the listed penalties, culpable mental states, and all that other stuff that goes into creating a law, where does that come from? Does it come from the arbitrary whims of whoever's sitting in the state capitol that day? No. It comes from the state legislature, which is made up of the representatives of the people. So what should scare you as a citizen of the United States is the fact that we have police officers out there who apparently don't understand that their governor, that their mayor doesn't have the authority to create law. And that don't have a problem being used as their mayor or their governor's Gestapo.
Well, if
that is what should bother you.
If the people who enforce the law also start enforcing orders and recommendations, and they don't refuse to do it, then doesn't that make it essentially like a law? If nobody fights back and the people who enforce it just enforce it,
oh yeah,
then it's essentially, it's not a law, but it's treated as a law.
Yeah, it just becomes de facto because it's back to it's not about what am I allowed to do. It's like, who will dare to stop me?
Right.
That is the main thing that should literally scare the hell out of everyone in America, is that you have that almost overnight we saw American law enforcement change from law enforcement, and maybe they didn't change. Maybe they've always been like this. We just didn't see it. To rules and policies, to policy enforcement officers. That's what should scare the shit out of you. Damn it. I'm sorry. Write it down. This is a public episode. That's what should scare you. That's what should bother you, is that the people who are supposed to know better either apparently don't know better or do and don't care. And when you have people in uniforms with guns that have just decided, well, I don't really care what the actual law says. I don't give a crap about malum ense or malum prohibitum or whatever. I'm just going to go ahead and do what I'm told so I can keep getting my check.
It's crazy.
That's the history of tyranny here on planet Earth.
I don't want to have to cut the story short about the toy gun complaint, so let's go ahead and move on. And I'm going to take a moment to thank the contributors to the Student of the Gun Public group. If you're not part of it, then please join it. Go to facebook.com, go to your Facebook page, search for the Student of the Gun Public group, join that group, and there's a couple questions you have to answer just to make sure that you're not a bot, and then we will allow you in there. The number 10 this week is Ryan Henson. Number 9, Alan Blake. Number 8 is Harry Galinsky. 7, Adam Montgomery. 6 is Andrew Ketz. 5 is Melissa Ridings. 4, Daniel Larson. 3, Derek Babcock. 2 is Andrew Reinert. And number 1 is Trent Wood. Thank you guys for taking the time and the effort to actually post and comment in the Student of the Gun Public group on Facebook.
Oh, man. So thank you to Century Arms, the sweetest melon arms maker in the U.S. of A, for keeping this show going, for keeping the lights on. And check those guys out. They've got the AKs, they've got the AK accessories, and of course they have a full line of Canic pistols, which are rhino tough and just will not quit. Duracoat, because life is
too short to have an ugly gun.
Oh, I got a great idea. DuracoatFirearmFinishes.com. We're going to be seeing those people face to face very soon, right?
Yep.
So why don't we do the badass winners when we do that?
Because the timeline doesn't match up.
Oh,
we don't choose the winner until June 15th, and we will not be there then.
Oh, okay, all right. Duracoat, because life is too short
to have an ugly gun.
That's right. It's too short to have an ugly gun. Check those guys out at DuracoatFirearmFinishes.com and check out their badass finish. Yes, indeed. Crossbreed Holsters wants you to be dangerous on demand all the time, like I am, and actually buy a quality holster and wear it on your body.
You want to be part of the DoD crew?
Dangerous on demand. That's right. And you make sure you use the promo code SOTG18. Save yourself some money. Get yourself some good gear.
We should probably update that code. It's 2 years old now.
Yeah.
Nathan, if you're watching this, help.
Yeah, I know. I actually just conversed with Nathan and Jen recently.
Nice.
And that new product, we're gonna hopefully
coming soon.
Release that soon. Yeah.
Sweet.
Brown ales.
Because
you need to go on and around a gun.
Yep.
And we've mentioned that previously. And they're constantly running specials, discounts, and deals. And if you want to know what the dealio is, follow them on their, just sign up for their newsletter. And they'll send you an email in the morning that says, hey, free shipping on all orders over $50 today. Go. There you go. Check those guys out. They're good people. All right. Zach's going to play a video, and then we're going to get into our main topic of the day.
Attention, new listeners. We produced a complimentary online training course called 7 Training Tips That Could Save Your Life. Get instant access by joining the Student Lounge for free at studentofthegun.com. Do you watch Student of the Gun TV, read the blog, and follow us on Facebook? If you answered no to any of these questions, you are wrong, but you can easily fix yourself. Go to studentofthegun.com to find everything SOTG.
Yes, indeed. Yes. Jared, do you want to first wrap some duct tape around your brain?
Yes, I'll do that.
Around your cranium so that it doesn't explode, and then tell the world where we are. Remind the world where we are right now, thanks to Karen and Kyle and the liberal Democrats of America.
We are actually sitting in communist Russia right now. And we're going to read the story that's from not communist Russia. It's actually in the United States of America. The title, this is from nraila.org. And it says, glimpse of toy gun in school-related Zoom call results in police response to family home. I'm excited to dive into this story here.
May 26th, this just happened.
My glasses on because it'll make me look smarter.
There you go, and you'll be able to read.
There. Of all the recent developments in American life arising from state lockdown orders, perhaps none is so sinister as public officials encouraging people to inform on their neighbors, and community members for perceived violations of supposed safety protocols. This trend is made all the worse by the fact that people getting an unprecedented glimpse into each other's homes through pervasive online video conferences now being used to facilitate activities like work, school, and religious worship. Quick aside, that's been used for that stuff for quite a while now. For one family in Pennsylvania, the discomfort a schoolmate's parent felt about seeing a toy gun in a Zoom call even resulted in police showing up at their home. This is insane. It says a segment on the May 15th edition of the Todd Starnes radio show included an interview with Sheila Perez Smith, who's the mother of a 7-year-old first grader. Perez Smith recounted how the child received a plastic toy gun as a gift, which quickly became the boy's favorite new thing. Duh. This is... I don't want to read the rest, but I have
You got to. We can't ignore this.
During a school-related Zoom call with his classmates and teacher at the Cumberland Valley School District, she said the boy was seated with the toy next to him. He was not, however, interacting with it in any way.
And who cares
I would say,
he wants?
even
It's
if
a toy.
And he's in his own home. After the call concluded, the family received an email of the child's teacher, from the child's teacher, basically saying that another parent of another classmate has been very uncomfortable by the fact that the gun has been in view of the Zoom call. And that was a quote.
So Karen is afraid. This is the psycho weakness of America. There's a plastic toy gun present in a Zoom call.
So yeah, and so
uncomfortable.
Jeez. So you think that, okay, the child's teacher emailed the mom and whatever. That's the end of it, right, guys? No, that's not the end. Within a couple of hours, Perez Smith said an officer from the Hampton Township Police Department came to their home and asked the family to step outside so he could question them about a complaint involving a child and a gun. The boy's parents explained that it was only a toy gun and showed it to the officer. They went on to reassure the officer that they have no actual firearms in their home and that everyone in the residence was safe and well. This is ridiculous. Perez Smith indicated that she thought, oh man, that would have ended any concern over the matter. Nevertheless, she said, quote, I do not feel that it was something where they said, we understand. We just had to follow through. They took it very seriously, as if they were if it was some sort of chance that we had weapons in the home.
This is America.
Yeah.
You should have weapons in your home. It's not illegal to have weapons in your home, even in Pennsylvania.
So Perez Smith, she says from that sentence that she just said, she's essentially saying, well, if they were just following orders, then it would have been okay. She also said that the police officer made a point to continue to lecture the family about the necessity of keeping children away from any sort of guns, even once he understood there was no danger to the kids.
Okay, Johnny Law, it's not your responsibility to tell people how to raise their kids.
And also that's wrong.
B, you're wrong. Okay, and C, that's your opinion, and you're not here to, and you wonder, you know what we're seeing, Jared? We're the law enforcement officers of America. If you're a good cop and you're listening to me right now, you need to perk up your ears and pay attention, because your support base is eroding. Okay, the criminal element of Chicago and Missouri, they already don't like you, okay? Where do you think your support base comes from? And when you turn on the citizens, when you start bullying the citizens, when you start commanding the citizens to respect your opinion about who should and should not own a gun, okay, you're eroding your own base. Just because I'm for law and order doesn't mean I have to be a cheerleader, a blind cheerleader for anybody in a blue uniform. And first of all, Jared, I can't even imagine the thought process of being dispatched to investigate the complaint that a toy gun was visible on a Zoom call.
Well, it probably was dispatched as a gun, not a toy gun.
Well,
But-
then you
but
go
still-
back and you charge whoever made that call with falsifying
Yeah.
a call, with
But
making a bad.
But even if a gun was spotted on a Zoom call, how is that? I don't know. Okay, so
I'm trying to put
the
my hand
interesting thing to me is that, yeah, there you go. The interesting thing to me is that we've got people. Okay, medical professionals have publicly stated that there is no reason for healthy people to wear masks other than to make people feel comfortable. Okay. So we've got people that wear masks to make people feel comfortable, which they're I don't know if they're wearing it for that reason or they think that it's actually going to help them not contract this virus. But at the same time, we've got people that are scared of toy guns. What is
We've
going
created, and you went to history class. What's our time looking at?
on? We got to wrap it up pretty quick.
41 minutes.
All right. If you ever wonder, if you have that moment, if you have a moment of clarity, and I know most people don't have a moment of clarity, but if you ever wondered, you're like, how is it that in 1940s Germany that they were able to convince neighbors to turn in their neighbors? And that's literally who they were. I mean, the Nazis weren't Martians. They weren't an invading force that came from another planet. They were German people. So how do you convince, and it didn't just happen in Germany, it happened in Russia, it happened in Cambodia, it happened in China, but how do you convince citizens to turn on their neighbors, inform on their neighbors? Part of it is this whole virtue signaling crap. But Jared, do you remember what's a telescreen? Where's the word telescreen from? 1984.
Oh, telescreen.
The telescreen.
Yeah.
They didn't call it television. They called it telescreen because the telescreens in 1984 let the state look into your house. You saw them, but they also saw you. They listened and monitored and saw what was going on in your house right now. This is it. And remember when Winston was talking about his neighbors and the kids, and eventually he knew they would be gone. And the kids ratted out the parents, and the dad ended up like gone. You remember that scene?
Yeah.
Okay, that was a warning, and this is what's going on right now in our country. This isn't a joke. It's not fiction. It's actually happening. We have human adults in America that are so offended and discomforted by the sight of a plastic toy gun that they're calling the police.
It's insane. And did you click on this other link in here? It says an article providing advice from two professors at a state public university warned that the sight of wedding pictures and references to fun family activities during online meetings can be construed as microaggressions. I clicked the link and I was reading this thing. We should talk about this on the grad program. I'm going to drop it in the grad program notes for later this week because it's insane. Like, what?
Hey, America, when you're all full and when you're all fed up and you're ready to say, nope, no more. Nope, we're done. We're done playing your PC game. Not going to put up with this crap anymore. Let me know. I'll be here for you. All right. Today's episode is brought to you by the Ministry of Truth, the sweetest smelling ministry in the
It's not at all.
in Oceania.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. We're actually going to be back pretty soon within the next probably 10, 15 minutes. We're going to have a representative from the Idaho House of Representatives on with us to talk about the Constitution.
All right. Remember, you're a beginner once.
Student for life.
We appreciate your reviews. If you haven't left a review or updated yours recently, head on over to Facebook, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast player to voice your opinion. Don't forget to join us at the Student Lounge, a place for like-minded individuals to learn, connect, and support each other. No chicanery will be tolerated. Remember to check studentofthegun.com daily for new, free content and giveaways. Watch, listen, read, shop, and connect at studentofthegun.com. Are you a social butterfly? Connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for new content each and every day at Student of the Gun. Watch Student of the Gun TV and videos from our trusted partners on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Chromecast, and even AirPlay. Go to studentofthegun.com for direct links, and remember, you're a beginner once, a student for life.